Have you been running on autopilot this year? So busy that you're not even sure if you're spending time on the right areas of your piano teaching business? Hey, if you're new around here, I'm Phoenix and I'm the Tattooed Piano Teacher. And this year, I decided to do a piano teacher reset. I'm reevaluating where I'm at, which direction I'm headed, and any course corrections that I need to make in the next year. You see, the thing about being a piano teacher is that there's no one set career path. And it can look really, really different from having one student once a week on the side of a full-time job to actually being your full-time job and teaching 30 to 40 students per week. And there's no right or wrong answer, but there is a right answer for you. So you want to think about, what direction are you headed? Is the destination that lies ahead of you the destination that you want to be at? I'm a really practical person, so I'm not going to make this too existential or too complicated. We're going to keep it really simple. I am going to ask you 10 questions, and I want you to jot down answers. Now, if you're on the move right now, then just listen to these and answer them in your head. You can always save this video and come back to it, or you can check out my blog post. The link is in the description where I have these all written out. Okay, question number 1 to think about. How many students do you have currently? Like I said, these are going to be really tangible, practical questions because that is how my brain works. Question number 2, how many years have you been teaching? Question number 3, how much do you charge per lesson? Question number 4, how much do you make per year? Question number 5, how many lessons do you teach each week? Question number 6, do you have another job or is teaching your full-time source of income? Question number 7, how many studio events do you host each year? Question number 8, have you hired any other piano teachers to teach with you or under you? And if so, how many? Question number 9, are you a member of any teacher groups or associations? And the final question, have you received any awards or accolades? Or have any of your students received any awards or accolades? So what do you think? Did those questions surprise you? Did you expect them to be deeper? They are pretty surfacey stuff, basically just numbers and figures. But here's where we're gonna go a little bit deeper into your personal path. I want you to think about the immediate response that you had to each question as it was asked to you. What was the first thought that popped into your head? Or what were the feelings associated with hearing the question and thinking of the answer or writing down the answer? You see, your first reaction, those thoughts that pop into your head, and the emotions that you feel are information that can tell you if you're on the right path and headed in the right direction. Let me give you an example. Did you feel dismissive when you heard any of the questions? What I mean by that is, did you hear a question and go, well, that doesn't matter? That feeling tells you that that is not an area that's important to you. For instance, if I said, have you won any awards or accolades? And you were like, who cares? Good. That's not an ambition of yours, so that's fine. You can basically just disregard or cross off, and you don't have to worry about them. That's one less thing that you have to spend time on, spend money on, strive for, because it's not in your personal ambitions, and that's totally fine. Did you feel embarrassed when I said any of the questions and you came up with your answer? This can be a sign that this is an area that is actually important to you, but you haven't hit any of the goals that you thought you would hit by this point. So if you've been teaching piano lessons for 5 years and you only have 2 students, then if we were doing this in person in a coffee shop, you might feel embarrassed when I ask the question, how many students do you have? Embarrassment is just an initial feeling and it's just information. So I want you to ask yourself, why do I feel embarrassed about saying that I only have 2 students or whatever the thing is? Why do I feel embarrassed that I've never hosted a recital? Think about that, because the answer will lead you in different directions. If the answer is, well, because my piano teacher always had recitals and I feel obligated to, but I really, really don't want to, okay, there's your answer. Or if it's, I really thought I would be farther along in this journey, my income is honestly really embarrassing. I would be embarrassing to tell Phoenix how much I charge for lessons because I know it's way too low. Haha, gotcha. Okay, now that's an area where you're gonna wanna work on. So based on the reason for your embarrassment, best as you can tell, that's gonna tell you how to proceed in that area. Make sense? Okay, let's try another emotion. Did you feel proud when I read any of the questions? If we were sitting across from each other, would you feel really proud to tell me any of those answers? Great. I hope that you did for at least one of those questions, because then that's an area that is A, important to you, and B, you're crushing it. So good job. So you want to keep doing what you're doing in that area. Okay, now get ready to feel uncomfortable. Did you feel defensive when I read any of the questions and you thought of your answer? Defensiveness is not bad in and of itself, right? It's information, as all emotions are. If you feel defensive about a certain area, then it could mean that it's important to you and you've been slacking, possibly. Explore, why did I feel defensive when she mentioned whatever? Explore that a little more. Ask yourself a follow-up question. If I were to dedicate my time in the next 12 months to that area and grow it up to insert goal here, would I no longer feel defensive if asked that question? If the answer is yes, then you, my friend, have found an area to totally crush it in the next 12 months. Okay, that's where you're gonna focus your time and energy. I've got one more question for you. Did you feel inspired when I mentioned any of the questions? So inspiration is like, this is an area that's important to me. I'm not there yet, but you just lit a fire under me. This is where I'm going to spend my time. So this one's pretty obvious. If you feel inspired to grow any certain area, like I currently have 5 students, I know I want to have 15. I am going to focus on marketing. There you go. So see how that works? All right, now we're going to take all these emotions and we're going to take inventory of all of the areas of your business. Before we do, if you're enjoying this or learning anything from this, please hit that like button because it gives me an idea of what kind of content to make for you all in the future. All right, so now take inventory for each area. Let's say how many students you have, how much you're charging, all of those areas that we mentioned in the 10 questions above. Which ones are not relevant? Don't need to worry about them. Not a goal, not an aspiration, not going to worry about it. Which ones are you moving backwards in? Which ones have you been slacking in and like it is relevant and it's not okay? Which ones are stagnant at this point? So which ones are you just kind of treading water? And is that okay for now? Because you can't focus on everything at one time. Or is it something you want to change that to a moving forward status? Which areas are you moving forward, but really, really slowly? Maybe you want to pick up the pace. And which ones are you moving forward at a great pace or a fast pace? So once you've taken inventory of all of these different areas and maybe thought of a couple more on your own, now you can figure out your course corrections. So if you've been spending a ton of time on marketing, but through this exercise, you found that actually you don't want more students, you actually want some of your time back, but you want to raise your rates, then maybe you want to focus in on the current students you have now and focus less on outreach to new students. Aha. Now, if you've grown your studio big time in the last couple years and you have a lot of students and you still have yet to host an event like a competition or a recital and you feel like, okay, this is the year that we're going to have to do that, then you're going to be dedicating some time to researching and planning that out. So wherever you want to make your course corrections, go ahead and write those out. Those are going to be a part of your goals for the next year. If you're interested in diving more into setting goals as a piano teacher, I have a video and a blog post all about that. You can watch the video here, and if you click the link in the description to the blog post, you can actually download a free PDF so you can follow along with me and set some more goals. Let's take it to the next level and make the next year a great one. Okay, so long, teacher friend.